Yeah, I know that you mentioned too, you said that you guys were in R&D for about like 2 years, right? And obviously there's some challenges you guys faced, but I think this is a good time to talk to you.
Well, the biggest challenge with protein is that the base of the protein, I don't know if you've ever had just raw ice, did get the weight off and really did get to like uncover my physique. And
All right. So Dana Kaye. So talk to me about when was that big aha moment when you decided to start a supplement company? And I read on your website where you had a really big lifelong battle with weight loss as well too, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I struggled with my weight from a young age. I think around, I want to say young age is like puberty, around 12 years old, is when I kind of switched from being a kid, being careless, like being like carefree and having the ice cream at the pool and the French fry, doing all the stuff, to all of a sudden around 12 years old, I started like noticing my body filling out a lot more and my appetite going up. And I loved food. I loved eating, and I was always athletic, but I did notice that, I cared more about, starting around puberty, girls care about what they look like in a dress, or like looking cute or feminine or whatever. And that's really when it all started for me. And I'm third generation in the flavor industry. Around the same time, my parents actually had started their own business, flavor manufacturing. And so I caught the bug for fitness at a young age. My mom had a personal trainer because she had back problems, and the doctor said, we're not going to do surgery, but you should strengthen your core. You need to just strengthen your body, and that's the best you can do for your back. So I followed my mom and the trainer around the gym. Everything they did, I would do. And I fell in love with it. I thought it was so cool to, work my muscles. And I also would see at the gym, like the fitness magazines, and I wanted to look like the girls, because the girls I was never attracted to fashion magazines with like skinnier models.
Tall and slender.
I wanted the athletic look. I don't know, the muscles and the feminine, like the fitness girls, they looked more powerful. They looked athletic, and it looked more relatable for my body type. I didn't have that like little sticky body. So I was like, okay, well, that's never going to happen. So, and then basically, I think it was around, I started competing. Oh gosh, my story is like it's complex as everybody else's life is, but like how it all came to be, it was kind of like the perfect storm where I finally had such a story where I gained and lost weight. I competed in figure for 10 years.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Which, that was the first time I actually did get the body fat off. I always was into like the fitness, but I was never, I call it the trifecta, or now I think it's even more. But years ago, I was like, okay, I was either dieting, but I wasn't training and doing cardio, whatever, or I was doing cardio, but I wasn't dieting and training. It's like I finally, when I pulled them all together and did my first figure show, which wasn't healthy. It wasn't a healthy lifestyle to do that. I think everybody can agree bodybuilding and the health industry are not one and the same. But anyway, it was the first time that I did get the weight off and really did get to like uncover my physique. But I did rebound after my first show. I was 26 years old. And I gained the weight right back because that diet was too intense. There was just too much cardio. The calories dropped way too low for too long. And I remember celebrating after my first show. It was in Los Angeles. And I remember celebrating, and I wanted to just for a week, eat all the foods I hadn't eaten for 21 weeks. And the 30 pounds that I lost just came right back on. Yep. And I was devastated, like most competitors will talk about. And back then there was no social media. I was on some different blog groups, like the forums that they used to have. Yeah. But this was MySpace. This was when MySpace was around, and but nobody, the magazines, nobody talked about that the photo shoots were done of the girls right before the shows. So I thought they were walking around all the time looking like that, staying super shredded and lean. And I wanted to achieve that, and I didn't know how. And but I felt like it could be doable, like, you know, to an extent. And I was like, how do I take my love of food and my love of fitness and incorporate them? And so I ended up, you know, I got married after the show. I got married. I had a honeymoon baby. I gained 70 pounds with my son. I was a hot mess. And then I ended up having a set of twins, gained 55 pounds with them.
Right on.
And after they were born, I had 3 little kids. My body was just like, just a hot mess. And I said, standing in my mom's kitchen, I'm like, I'm going to get in the best shape of my life. Like by next year, I'm going to compete again. So I did. I worked my tail off. I got back on stage. I went from 210 pounds to 123 pounds.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. A year later, my twins were 1 year old. People were like, how are you doing it? And I was like, I'm a queen of multitasking. I'd wake up at 5 a.m., whatever it took to get my babies taken care of, my fitness taken care of, prep my food, nobody, you know, and nobody was doing it for me. I mean, I was prepping all my own food, taking care of my kids, just the whole thing. And somehow I pulled it off. But again, after that show, I was like, you're back in no man's land. You're like, what do I do now? And how do I stay on track? And how do I now keep this beautiful physique I just worked so hard for? So backtracking to my first show and backtracking to my parents being in the flavor industry, when I competed in my first show in 2006, I called home. The diet was freaking awful. It was oatmeal and egg whites for 2 meals. It was so bland. It was 3 shakes, 3 whey shakes a day. I mean, the calories were low. The food was bland. I started eating volume of, I didn't care what my coach wrote about, like 5 things of asparagus and a cup of broccoli. I was like, no, like the only way I'm going to survive this is just eating a ton of vegetables. So I still lost the weight doing unlimited vegetables, but the rest of my calories were low. And I called home to my parents' company back in New Jersey. And I was like, can you guys send me some flavors? Like, I need flavors to put in my oatmeal. And I started doing like hacks with my protein powder, because back then the protein powder was like so awful. And so I was putting flavor in my protein powder, and I was putting the pudding mix in my protein powder to make it thick, to make ice cream. And I was making the protein pancakes with, the oatmeal and egg whites. And then I was putting blueberry flavor in, or cookies and cream flavor. And so I came up with this whole concept. I was all excited. Like, I'm going to call them Fit Flavors. I want to do this company, and I'm going to sell these flavors and to competitors and people who want flavors for their clean foods. Back then, stevia wasn't really like a thing. So there was just sucralose, and I love sucralose, don't get me wrong, but I didn't think that was the right carrier for flavoring. So anyway, the whole idea for this business, I put on hold, got married, had the kids, had the baby, fast forward now. So this is like 2006, that fast forward now, it's 2013. I just competed again, and I'm back to, oh my gosh, like, again, there's still nothing on the marketplace that makes protein ice cream. There's no proteins that really bake and taste amazing. And here I am still wanting to keep this physique, and I want to stay devoted now to this lifestyle. I want to be this fitness chick, but this diet is freaking awful, and I'm so bored, and I miss food, and I miss chocolate, and I miss ice cream, and I miss pancakes and waffles and everything. So I was walking in the grocery store with my mom, and we were looking around shopping, and I told her, Mom, remember I had that idea for making a company that had like these flavors that could go in your food, and then like this protein that we could like bake like muffins and pancakes and whatever. And I was like, I feel like I should still do it. And she said, Dana, if you don't do it, somebody else is going to do it. And it's a fantastic idea. There's nothing here. There's nothing we get online. There's nothing. And at the same time, which it was just like the perfect storm brewing, my now, ex-husband, but my husband at the time called me, and he said, hey, that protein that you're using? And I was at the gym at the time when he called me, and he said, there is just a lawsuit that the protein and a few other protein companies are amino spiking their protein. And I was like, I was mortified. I fell to the ground and like sat down, and I'm like, oh my God, this protein that I've been telling everybody to buy and that I've been using for months and months, desperately trying to put on muscle with eating extra protein, because I've been always been, all natural. Like I never took PEDs. So it was for me, it like really depended on my diet. And there's the lawsuit that this company was amino spiking. And so while they were claiming 26 grams of protein, a scoop of protein, it was really, they did third-party testing and there was only 12 and the rest was just filler.
Jeez.
And I was like, I felt like when you're cheated on and you can't believe, you feel so violated. I'm like, I have my mom using this. I'm making smoothies for my kids and they're filling it with a bunch of garbage. And I was mortified. I was so angry. And I was like, I'm never trusting another company again. Like, how dare they? And gosh. So I marched into, at this point, I lived back in New Jersey. I marched into my parents' off at their lab, and I spoke to the chemist and I was like, guys, I want you to make me my own protein. And I bought proteins, all these different companies' proteins, and I printed out all their labels and I tried them. I'm like, this is what I like about theirs. And I'm circling labels. And I remember I laid it out on my mom's counter and I'm like, look, they have this and they have this and they have that. And I pulled, and I'm like, I'm going to create the ultimate protein powder it's going to be a high functioning protein. It's not just a watery whey isolate and all you can do is drink it. You are going to be able to make pudding and ice cream and waffles and just everything with this protein. And also because how many of us have I used to have protein containers lining my counter in all these different flavors. And, years ago, you can't sample the protein. Yep. So I would be all excited, BSN, I would go their dessert line and I go buy all the dessert line because when you're a competitor, it sounds delicious. And then I get home and be like, oh my God, this is
it tastes so artificial and nasty.
Oh, and then I was like, I have 2 pounds of this to eat. Are you kidding me? I'm never going to get through 2 pounds. So I was like, I want it to be one, you buy 2 pounds, you can add your flavoring to it, or you can whatever, and you just love it. And it's all you need. That's all you need is this protein, and it does everything you want. Make a shake. So for 2 years we were in R&D. And I would not launch anything without it being unbelievable. And so finally we came up with this. I would bring home the samples and bring it home and bake and make protein pancakes and do all this stuff. And there was a lot of failures. And then finally one day we, brought home samples after all the tweaks or whatever. And it made the perfect pancake and it tasted unbelievable. And at the time I had my twins, one of my twins, I still have the picture. She was holding a spatula and she had the brownie batter, the chocolate all over her face. And I was making chocolate waffles for them. And she was licking it off the spatula. And I said, okay, if this kid is that into this protein powder, and as a kid, and I thought it was, I'm like, we could sell this stuff.
That's a winner.
Oh my gosh. So we named it brownie batter. I'm like, we're going to call it brownie batter. And so, now I have angel food cake. So it was angel food cake and brownie batter. And we launched with those. And and that was the birth of Devotion Nutrition to stay. Yeah. So products to help you stay devoted to your healthy lifestyle.
That's a hell of a story. That's
there you go. Awesome. I tried to nutshell it. I was like, okay, I got to wrap this. It is
that's hard to nutshell that. Yeah. I love all those details and stuff too. The frustrations, just the competing story, the passion, the fire behind with your parents, all that stuff. So very cool. And you know what? That flavor is really good. The brownie batter, really good.
Yeah. Oh, good. I'm glad you like it. And we make it even better. Every time we run it, we improve it. Every time the formulas are amazing. Angel food cake, I haven't really messed with much, but the brownie batter, chocolate, especially for something not being a real piece of chocolate where it's chocolate's hard to nail. And so if we can make it better with the flavoring, and I do have real cocoa powder in it, and we're always tweaking it to make it eat because it's almost like people now eat the brownie batter. We just try to run today, actually at the office that we're running it. We even improved it again. Now it's even better than before because it's I want people to take it and eat it off of a spoon and be like, oh my God, this tastes like brownie batter. This is if you're mixing brownie batter in your kitchen. But that's what's going to keep you on track. Because then at night, when you're craving something,
Sure.
I want you grabbing protein. I don't want you grabbing then Ben and Jerry's or, something that's going to then have you wake up and be like, oh, why did I do that?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And I know that you mentioned too, you said that you guys were in R&D for about like 2 years, right? And obviously there were some challenges you guys faced, but I think this is a good time to talk about like some of those challenges. Like what were some of those big challenges? Because I know there's a lot of health and fitness coaches that are listening to this. And I know every health and fitness coach, whether they admit it or not, they aspire to one day have like a supplement company or something like that. So yeah, talk about maybe some of those big challenges. Like, what did they teach you?
Well, the biggest challenge with protein is that the base of the protein, I don't know if you've ever had just raw isolate, like whey isolate, and mine's an 80% isolate, 20% casein. So the lab initially brought me out the raw ingredients and they're like, Dana, this is your base. This is your protein. And I tasted it and I was like, oh my God, raw protein is terrible. Like it's terrible. So they're like, this is our mission, because a lot of proteins have that dairy, that off dairy taste.
Right.
And you taste it and you're like, oh God, and it leaves that. I was like, the mission is to not know that this is protein. So it is now, here's our big thing where it's like this raw, because a lot of ingredients and a lot of products, even in my wellness products, because now I do have amino acids and essential amino acids and a gut health one. The whole thing is these raw ingredients do taste disgusting. So our battle is to cover them up to the point that you're going to enjoy these products and want to use them every day while obviously benefiting from them because they are functional products. So the biggest thing, because, like I said, if I bought a tub of protein and I can't stomach it, I'm not going to use it every day, or I'm going to dread making my shake, or I'm going to add 1,000 different things to my blender to cover that up. And then all of a sudden I've created a 500-calorie shake,
Yeah. Yeah.
So the biggest battle is making products that taste so amazing that, yes, I love the bodybuilding industry, but they're not my target. I want the mainstream people who are truly struggling to find products they love that help them get to the next level and stay devoted and enjoy their food and enjoy their lifestyle. Because that's success. This isn't a 12-week prep or a show. This is a lifestyle.
Yeah.
I retired from that competing in 2016. My whole goal is I need to keep going. I need to stay fit. I need to love what I'm doing. And I don't want to dread my diet. So that's the biggest challenge, is creating a product that people will find and not just buy once and then it sits in the back of their cupboard. It's that they enjoy it. They love it. They look forward to it. And while they're reaping the benefits of a fabulous formula.
Yeah. And I think you guys like found something really cool like that you guys are serving like, more of like general health and lifestyle and everyday people. Because I remember when we competed back in 2013, we would look at different proteins, and what would like make or break it is like, we'd be like, oh, this one has 3 grams of fat or 5 grams of fat. Oh, no, we're looking for the one that has like 1 gram of fat. Yeah. And we didn't care if it tasted like crap or not. Right. We just wanted just like the calories. And that was a bodybuilding mindset, Yeah. Or even the ones that had like the most like amino acids, like the leucine, isoleucine, all that stuff.
Right. And bodybuilders will choke down anything, because honestly, they know this is not forever. This is a prep. This is what we're doing. But when you're talking about mainstream people, now I'm really big, Devotion's big in the bariatric world, bariatric surgery patients. We're big with diabetics. We're big with Weight Watchers. We have all across the board, people who they're like, this isn't a prep. This is my life. Like, I need to be using this for the rest of my life. And so, they're not just trying to choke something down. They actually are looking forward to making their little brownie batter mug cake or making a pancake in the morning. And just like, that's their breakfast. It's not just like, just for like performance.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And then I love your guys' slogan, can't stop, won't stop until it's done.
Until it's done.
Did you come up with that?
Yeah. Well, when we rebranded, because when we first started Devotion, we looked totally different. Like, if you see old school Devotion, we were like a rainbow. It was like this artsy, like hippie. Okay. It was kind of crazy. And it was devoted for life, ignite your passion. And it aligned with us too, but we rebranded. We did use a guy who branded like Rob's Real Good and Quest. We finally decided, we were like, since this thing has legs, let's get a guy who really, and also it looked very feminine, and like our products are for men and women. I have a huge male, clientele, like the guys love it. the women used to buy it and then the men would steal it. And then the women were buying double because then the guys were like, wait, I want her protein. And, but anyway, now, we rebranded so that it's just, gender neutral. Everybody is, attracted to it. So when we rebranded, the branding company said, like, spoke to us and really wanted to like fit. And I would always say, like, well, I'm devoted to this lifestyle. Like, this lifestyle is never done. You're not on a prep. You're going for life. And then they came back and they were like, your slogan's until it's done, because it's never done.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's badass though. I like that. And then, and just, I want to stay kind of on this like devoted topic, because you said you're a mom of 3, which, man, I got a lot of respect for you, Dana. Like, it's really awesome. And are your twins identical really quick?
They're fraternal.
Okay.
So,
cool.
I mean, they call up Hope, which is,
Yeah. Just when I heard twins, I was like, oh, well, we're twins, but we're identical. So
yeah.
Yeah.
No, they're not. They're definitely not.
So mom of 3, right? Entrepreneur. I mean, just, you're a hard worker, and women that are listening to this, women that watch you on your stories and social media, they're obviously very inspired. So how do you get all this shit done? And just really just even, I don't like the word balance, because I don't think balance exists, but like, how do you maintain all this stuff just by doing all this?
It's funny, like the balancing thing. It's like, it's more of like a balancing act. And when you say balance, it's like, not everything on the balance is always going to be equal. It's kind of like, sometimes I'm like, it's like, I've got so much work and then, but, I mean, more of like a juggling act, but, I think being ultra organized and like taking things on day by day, I really, from the time that I found out that I was having twins, and I already had a toddler. My son was already a little, like a month shy of 3 when they were born. And it was like, I was like, okay, I gotta be really organized to like execute these kids and my life, and doing all, like, I wasn't the type of woman that was like, okay, now my whole life, my passion.
I know, my bad. I know you're probably like, dude, why did you do that? Just really quick, and we'll be back to that video. I just want you to join our free Facebook group community for health and fitness coaches looking to get more online clients. So just click the link below in the description box, join it absolutely free. We got some cool stuff in there, a lot of videos, we do live trainings every couple of months on there. And we got some cool freebies on there. So just make sure to click the link below, join our free Facebook group for health and fitness coaches that want to level up and get more online clients to create more income, impact, influence, independence. Back to the video.
I knew that I couldn't just give up myself either, like a lot of women, it's like, they'll say like, well, I stopped working out because once I had kids, it just got to be, I was like, no, I then found the time. Like, I was not going, like, every time an excuse started coming out of my mouth, I was like, what? Like, it made me sick. I'm like, no, Dana, that's an excuse. Like, don't say, oh, because I have it. No, not because you have kids. Like, I would put the twins in the double stroller, and like, if I needed to get my exercise, like, they're going in the stroller, we're going for a walk. Or I bought my ex got me a treadmill for the house, and the babies are in the swings and I'm on the treadmill while they're, and I'm multitasking. I've been really big with waking up early. I was never a morning person.
Yep.
And I was like, okay, now you are. Like, now 5 a.m. or whatever time I have to wake up, as brutal as it was, I realized, okay, well, if I want to get a workout in and the rest of the day just doesn't have time for it, that's when I'm going to have to do it. And I also was just the queen of making lists. Like, every day I would just take on one day at a time. And to this day, like right here next to my thing, here's my book. And every day there is a to-do list with little check marks, and it can be the dumbest little thing. But if I forget, call the vet, like whatever it is, and every little detail, because then that's how you get stuff done. And you really have to be clean and organized and prioritize getting things done and focusing on projects. You can't dilute yourself down. That was something that I used to do, trying to take on too much or feeling overwhelmed looking at this huge picture. Like, I have dreams for devotion, but I can't look out there right now. I've got to tackle every day to its max. And then, all of a sudden those days all add up, and I'm like, oh, here I am. And like, this brand is like unbelievable. Like, we're doing, so.
Okay. No, I appreciate you sharing that. I'm right when you said one day at a time, that hit with me because that is my motto. It's just one day at a time. And you do, and it sounds like you're very like efficient with your time ownership and just your list, and you're moving the big rocks to move the needle forward, which is great. And then what about those days, Dana? Like when you just like wake up and you're just like, man, I'm just not feeling it. Like you just have one of those shitty days, like what do you usually do to kind of just like reboot?
Yeah. I used to feel really guilty about those days. And I used to be like, like for a long time, I'm sure you guys saw through social media, like the words were like grind, hustle, no days off. And I fell victim to that, where I was like, everybody else is grinding, I need to be grinding too. Or I'd feel guilty if I needed to sit down for a minute. And you know what? I did burn out, and I did have times of melting down and crying and calling my mom and being like, what did I sign up for? Like, I just got into way too much. Like, I have so much on my plate. And, my mom would say like, all right, calm down, go take a shower, go, it's almost like a reset. And then I've now learned that if there are days that are overwhelming and I'm tired and it's too much, I shut my laptop down. I give myself grace because I realize that day of just sitting around and maybe watching a Netflix series and not thinking about everything that I have to do or all my stresses will help me reset, relax, calm down. And I realize the next morning I wake up and I'm like, all right, I just needed that. And I can go again. But it's like if you just keep burning and burning and burning and thinking that you don't need to just chill a little bit, you'll just burn out.
For sure.
Yeah.
I appreciate you sharing that.
Man, it's like the timing of you said this, because last Sunday at church, our pastor said that exactly. Stop grinding and start gracing. So it's like so true what you said. When you're just like having one of those days where it's overwhelming and just it's not going to work to plow through it like you think, right? It's just like shut it off, get your mind off it. And tomorrow's another day,
Yep. Yeah. And take advantage of the times that you do wake up with the go. Like yesterday, I woke up for some reason. I was like, I'm on it. Like today I'm on it. And so I was like, I'm going to ride this wave of like motivation, of energy. I feel great. And so I listened to myself. I listened to the fact that like I had this ump in my, whether I had a good night's sleep, whatever it was. But then you also have to listen to yourself when your body's saying, or your mind is saying, I just need to like sit outside and just be by myself and enjoy a little bit of quiet time and I'll read a book or something, and that's okay. And everything will be there when I'm, will still be there when I'm done relaxing, but maybe I can just have a clearer mind and, it's like a reset. Everybody needs it.
Yeah, 100%. Absolutely. And I want to go back to what you're talking about, organizational skills. I think there's a lot of value for the listeners with that. I know you mentioned you wake up early. You have like a really cool like to-do list, right? What are some other like organizational like hacks that you do that, maybe the listeners can like, test out in their life?
I think the number one thing is making sure that and this has been something that I've done since I was in grade school, your environment really has to be clean and organized. I was diagnosed with like ADD at a younger age, and I didn't want to do the medicine. They would put me on medicine. I would get TMJ. I felt like there were just too many side effects. So I ended up, I worked with a woman all summer who was amazing. I guess she was like a therapist. I don't know what she was, but she basically said to me, like, it's overwhelming to you and you're all over the place because your environment, if it's messy, like if my desk was messy or my house was messy, I didn't feel like I could focus. It was like there was stuff going on everywhere. So one thing that I always do is I make sure that my environment is always cleaned up and organized, and I can see everything clearly, and things are in clean labeled, piles, and things are organized. And, I feel like I can get like started with work when I'm like, okay, my desk is cleaned up, my kitchen is cleaned up, and not in like a weird obsessive way, but in like a way that you feel good. Like, just like I said before, like when you go take a shower, you feel clean, you have a fresh outfit on. There's something that just feels good, rather than if you just stayed in your pajamas and you're like, you've got your coffee and you're just like grinding and you're just like, you feel gross and you're like sitting in what you wore yesterday. It's like, oh, like, no, like, doesn't it feel better to just have like this like fresh start.
Mhm.
So I would say, making sure your environment, whether it's at work, your desk at work, your house, wherever you are, that you want to be really productive and efficient, is like start by just getting that environment really nice and organized and cleaned up, and get rid of clutter. I call it, my kids always laugh at me, but I call it trash bag Sunday. And I'm like, on Sundays, the trash bag comes out and I'm like, guys, everybody, this trash bag has to be filled. And it's like, get rid of all your junk, the stuff you don't need, clean out your backpacks, like clean out your rooms. And we fill up trash bags every Sunday of stuff. And it's a declutter to start the week fresh on Monday with
That's
a nice
awesome.
clean environment. We do it to our refrigerator, our drawers, just trash bag it. Like, let's go.
That's really
Trash bag Sunday. That's awesome. I've never heard that, but that's
Start that hashtag and have everybody be doing hashtag bag Sunday.
Yeah.
Yep.
But if I'm having a bad week with Eric, can he be in the trash bag?
Oh,
Well, I mean, I get it. We all have those weeks with people we hang out with a lot, and you're just like, but no, it's true. Like it's really, it's really like refreshing to like
That's
kind
cool.
of declutter your space. So yeah, that's some advice I have.
I like that.
Yeah. I mean, my kids will go over to friends' houses and they're like, Mom, I don't know how they do their homework. Their kitchen table is covered with stuff. And, because my kids will like sit at the kitchen table and I'll help them with homework. And she's like, they'll say like, oh my gosh, they have stuff all over. Their kitchen's a mess. And like my kids notice it, because I know that even for them, if I'm asking them to sit down and focus, they can't focus if they've got like toys and laundry and like their stuff all over the house. It's like if the kitchen is cleaned up, and we're focusing right on what's important, and that's it right in front of us, and it helps. Yeah,
absolutely. So Dana, I want to shift gears here. I want to ask like a couple of deep questions. We like to do this like towards the end of the show.
Sure.
So if you had I know you're very busy, you're very aspirational, you've accomplished a lot, but let's say you only had 5 years to live. What would you stop doing right now?
Ooh, oh my gosh, what would I stop doing? It's like, I feel it's weird because it definitely wouldn't be work, because I have such a passion for what I'm doing, and it definitely wouldn't be my fitness, because I love my fitness. I can imagine. I mean, I really do feel like I live. If I knew I only had 5 years, I would plan more outings and quality time with like my mom and my kids and my, like my significant other. Like I would definitely right now, I feel like I push that stuff off for the future. Like I'm like, one day we'll all take a great trip to Europe, and one day we'll do whatever. But I mean, I would stop pushing things off. I would do everything now. I would really execute some of the things that I do push off. So
What do you think it is? Like, really kind of just like, has you guys have that mindset too? Because I have that mindset too, where I'm like, we'll wait, we'll push it off. I tell my wife that sometimes too, but it's like, what do you think it is about like, that you do about like, oh, we'll push it off, or we'll plan it next time, or you know what I mean?
Probably because, there's always so much stuff in the present that we want to be getting done. And we feel like if we fall behind on it, then we're going to be playing catch up. And then it's like if I say yes to my mom, she's 70 right now, and she's built an incredible empire, and she has everything, she just bought a yacht. I mean, the woman is living it up, and I love it. But sometimes, she'll be like, hey, this weekend we're gonna take the yacht to Miami, and then we're gonna go here, and we're gonna go there. And it's like, I love it. But sometimes I'm like, Mom, I have laundry, and like, I have grocery shopping. I have like all this stuff. And like, she's way past the raising the kids. She's way past all that. And all I want to do is hop on the boat. And of course I want to go with her. But then again, I know like what happens in my mind is, I'm like, okay, if I hop on the yacht and go to Miami and I just cruise all weekend, I'm going to come home Sunday night and I'm going to be like, oh my gosh, the kids need school, like lunch stuff. And we didn't even do any laundry this weekend, and look at my house and and all of a sudden it freaks me out. So then so often I say no for fear of the freak out. And then for having this week of like feeling like I'm behind or catching up and being exhausted or feeling guilty that I didn't do my responsibilities. So, it's really, I feel like for responsible adults who do have like have children and a business and employee and all the things, it's so hard to constantly be like, YOLO, you know, like, oh, let's just go, let's go. And it's like hard to say, yeah, let's go to Europe for 2 weeks. It's like, oh my God, I have like a business to run and a house and the things, and kids have math tutoring. And like, so it's this age is hard. It's like, but yet, you know, do you want to wait till you're 70 to do all that?
I know, exactly. That's the hard part. And that's what messes with your head too, because we're very much like that. We're workaholics, and it's because we just love what we do, you know, and to us, it's not work. And I get you. And it's a tough one to answer.
And for me, it's like tomorrow's never promised. You know what I mean? So to put something off like, you know, months or next year, that's what kind of messes with my head, because again, I don't know when my time is, you know?
Right. So, exactly. And yet, like, yet I'm in denial about that, because I'm like, no, I'll have plenty of time. I live healthy. I'm this and that, you know? And so I try to do like the responsible thing. So, I mean, but if I knew that my days were numbered like that, like 5 years, if I was really, really given, I'd probably just, probably maybe hire more people to do more stuff, so that I maybe like a full-time, you know, it's like I say, I'd hire a full-time housekeeper or something. So they can't even find anybody. I put on ads. I don't have any, you know, it's like, I've been doing all this. I run myself into the ground because I don't even have all the help. And I have a decent sized house. I've got my 3 kids, my boyfriend, my dog. I mean, I've got tons of responsibility, but if you don't have the help, who's going to do it?
Sure. Right.
So
yeah, exactly. Well, I appreciate you being open and just honest and talking about that. And what I want to just kind of transition to now is just what's next for Dana, and then what's next for Devotion Nutrition.
Well, for Devotion, which is a easy one, you know, I made a really interesting marketing choice that, you know, when you're a business owner, you do your best to make decisions on products that you bring to the market and, you know, what you think that the customers are going to like. And I launched a sweet potato pie protein 2 years ago, and everybody was like everyone's like, oh, pumpkin, do a pumpkin, do this. And I was like, oh my God, everybody has the pumpkin pie and so I ended up making this incredible flavor, and we tasted it, and it's so good. And I called it sweet potato pie because it's like the exact flavor profile of a sweet potato pie. Unfortunately, marketing wise, that was a terrible idea, because most of the country, it's a very like ethnic, like I love sweet potato pie, and people in the deep South know sweet potato pie. But if you don't know what a sweet potato pie tastes like, all you're seeing is sweet potato. And then you're like, ew, a protein, like what? So that was kind of like and like with Devotion's reputation for having amazing protein, it's like, I sell whatever, but people were thrown off by the name. Now, if they trusted me and they bought it, they were thrilled with it. But most people, you know, who are new to the company, every time they come in, it's like the idea is to get more people to be trying the new flavors. And so I am going to be discontinuing that. I am going to launch another protein flavor this year. I'm working on a functional food product, a couple of them. I have a few different things. We're going to see what works. Everything is R&D, because anything that I launch is not going to be something that's already saturated in the market. Like, I'm not going to just make another protein bar, or I'm not going to make another, you know, it's going to be something else different and revolutionary. And I don't have to, it's like the flex flavors. Like, I don't have to compete against anybody. Like, there's nobody else has it. So I'm going to try to make something that's really different. So I have 2 different R&D projects going with 2 different groups to see what works. Because I do want it to a product that people can take Devotion on the go. Right now we have our tubs and our packets and all that stuff, but I want it to be, you know, ready to eat. So something that's packaged that you can just like grab and bring with you. So that's something I'm working on. And then for myself, what's next for Dana?
You gonna step on stage again?
No. Oh my God. No, you know what? I decided also a long time ago, like, I don't want to compete against women. I want to empower them and be there to, you know, I felt like it was weird. It's like, oh, I felt competitive against these women because we're on stage, like, who has a better body? And I'm like, wait, that's everything against what I stand for. Like, you know, like, I'm here to help everybody. I want everybody to be successful and to be the best they can be. So that's why when I retired, I was like, this isn't even what I'm about. Like, I don't want to compete against anybody. Like I'm really big on my social media platforms, like empowering women and giving advice and talking and showing them recipes and so, no competing for me. I love doing fitness photo shoots, like getting my physique back in check. I kind of had a hormone screw up with a hormonal IUD that really took my body on a tailspin.
Yeah.
So I've been working on getting my hormones back in check, and I would love to shoot again for fitness. I'm my own influencer for my brand. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And I just turned 42. So I like to just
keep
showing that you're never, do it at any age and you're not too old.
It's just a number.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. So yeah. And then that's it. That's it. I'm just right now, my twins are 10 and my son is 13. So I'm still in the heart of raising little ones, and we're about to go into the teen years. So I think I have some fun ahead of me. Yeah. And my son keeps reminding me that in 2 years he'll get his driver's permit. I'm like, all right. They can't wait to grow up. And I'm like, ah. Yeah. So yeah, we've got a lot of good stuff going on. But this year what's the other thing that's big for Devotion is that now that we're out of the pandemic, we're going to start hitting all the expos again and doing shows. I personally myself, I went to a yoga studio the other day. I was at a lifting place for women and I set up demos. I have a demo girl, and I just want people tasting the product. Yeah. And yeah.
Smart. So, that's good. Yeah. Just like even when we went to that, the one in that conference in Florida, ISSN, and where you guys were very generous to, help us out and give out your samples. It was awesome going back to just, old school, just shaking people's hands, interacting, just buying that trust. And they loved your guys' approach and just handing those things out. Like it was just like little, packets of like just goodies.
Yeah, no, that's the best. And gosh, we sell stuff. To sell online, you really have to be like, people have to see the stuff over and over and over before they pull. When we do demos or people walk right up, we sample the pudding right there, the protein pudding, or they taste the wellness products and they buy it right there on the spot. They're like, oh my gosh, like this is so good. Like I would never have known this seeing it on social media. So my bread and butter and how we even got the company to grow so quickly was just being at these shows and just live sampling.
Yep.
You got to taste it to believe it. So that's what we're going to be doing this year.
Right on. I love it. Well, Dana, we're coming towards the end of the show, and I just want to say thank you. I want to commend you before asking the last question. Just thank you for your time. Thank you for just like your devotion to all that you're doing, your mission, your story. I mean, you're a relentless, amazing woman. And I've only gotten to know you for these last 40-ish minutes, but I really appreciate you just sharing all your wisdom.
Yeah, thank you so much for just coming on, being brave, sharing your story, and just inspiring people. I really respect that.
Thanks. Well, thanks for having me, you guys.
You're very welcome. Yeah. So what does your definition of living a dynamic life mean?
Man, exactly what you just said about what I did with taking on living your passions, taking it all on, not saying no, taking chances. Yep. I had this idea for a company and I just went for it. Like it's a scary thing, but it's like, I feel like it's my way of like paying it forward, helping other people. I struggled. Now it's like, and I obviously was able to find a solution for myself. So now I'm like and it's very fulfilling. I'm kind of like paying it forward now, helping other people with my products. And while I get to be a mom and be a businesswoman and get out, like doing all the things that I love to do,
Yeah.
And bringing all the things together that I love, even with the photo shoots, I love glamour and getting dressed up and doing all that. So it's like, I get to do it all. So when you truly get to live your passion and wake up every day excited to do what you love to do, that's like the best. That's the dynamic life. That's awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I agree 100%. That's like true freedom for myself too. So I really respect that, Dana. And where like right now, can us or the supporters can us or the audience like support you on anything that you guys are like working on or anything you guys have going on?
Well, we're always trying to grow our social media. Mainly, we put out so much content of educating, like how to make the recipes, educating about the products. So we are growing on TikTok. We are on Instagram and Facebook, and people put Google reviews, and I mean, we're just all over. We have Pinterest boards, and we've been around for a little while now. So anywhere that you like to be, that you can follow us. If somebody's really big on TikTok, like go check us out and maybe put in a comment, check, just start to interact with us. And that's what we love, because this company has grown from word of mouth, and people really giving us a chance and trying the brand, falling in love with the brand, and then sharing it with others.
Yeah.
Awesome. 100%.
And then where can the listeners connect with you?
I'm on Instagram, and I'm Dana Lynn Kaye, just on Instagram. And then I'm Dana Lynn Kaye 18 on TikTok. But I guess Instagram is where you can find me and directly like DM me. I'm always on there, and I'm very active, and that's really where I connect with my audience and followers and people the customers, and I get a lot of great feedback on there, good and bad. Like if somebody says like, well, I didn't really like that, I'm like, well, thanks for letting me know. Like, I appreciate it. And not everything's for everybody, and that's okay.
Exactly.
For this too. So
absolutely. We can't please everyone.
Right. Exactly. I got this lawn blower behind me. Are you kidding me?
See that just means it's time to end the show.
Yeah. But, he's cueing us.
Yeah. But we'll have all that linked up in the show notes. So guys, go follow Dana, go check out what she's doing with Devotion Nutrition. We'll have all that linked up in the show notes as well too. But once again, Dana, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, you guys.
All right, guys, until next time.